Hello everyone, this is a brand new video. I've never made these kind of videos before, especially where I do my face, but I'm doing this for my capstone, and I am doing this for social media purposes. Now, what I'm going to be doing today is building a PC based on my capstone project, which the research question was pre-built versus custom pre-built versus custom build PCs. Now I'm doing this for one of two reasons. The first reason is because I love building PCs, and the second one, overall, I love being honest. And I wanted to do this because it will allow other people to possibly be inspired to build PCs. Do it out of honesty, basically. I need to go get my glasses on, but I'm excited to get this done. I will say that I haven't done one of these in forever, and I'm excited to do something new. I'm excited to try something new, and I'm excited to get this PC built because I've been waiting for a while. So let's get this done.
Hello everybody, Future Noah here. I wanted to mention before we actually get started with the video though, with selling PCs, I don't just build them. Yeah, there might be thousands of videos on how to build a PC. I sell something they don't. Honesty. I don't build machines to outrageous prices, or price points, or just to look flashy while failing under pressure. I build balanced systems that actually work together. Whether it's for high-stakes trading, graphic design, or just daily schoolwork, I ensure every part is perfectly paired. If components aren't compatible, that PC is as good as gone. I build mine to last. Many builders charge premium prices for imbalanced systems that lead to lag, delay, and eventual failure. My approach is different. I build custom PCs based on transparency and performance. Every build is optimized for your specific life, whether that's coding, investing, or gaming, ensuring that every dollar spent goes towards a part that actually enhances your workflow. I don't just sell hardware, I sell the peace of mind that comes with a system built to work from day one. In my time of building PCs, I've learned the hard truth. A PC is only as strong as its weakest link. If your parts don't pair well, you aren't just losing speed, you're risking a total system failure down the road. That's why I started this business. While others might chase the highest margins, I chase customer satisfaction. I use my experience to handpick compatible parts that balance power and reliability for everything from professional work to daily life. No gimmicks, no outrageous markups, just the truth in every build. I hope you guys truly like me as a creator and understand what I'm about, and hope you guys enjoy it. However, I would like to add, because of time, I have to shorten the video by speeding up parts where I talk and stuff like that. I'm gonna, for the most part, just be speeding up the video to the parts where I actually am building the PC. I hope you guys enjoy, and back to the video.
I know there's many other videos, so you're probably like, why choose this one? Like I said from the very beginning, I'm based off honesty, and so if you guys want to use this video and just like me as a creator, or just like me as a person in general, you can watch it. You don't have to watch it. You can just ignore the video, or you can ignore me. You don't even have to like the video. You don't have to do anything. You can ignore me, watch the video, honestly skip to certain parts, up to you. But yeah, so like I said, this is an AMD motherboard with the AMD CPU. I chose to go with the AMD Ryzen 7 5700X. This is an 8-core 12-thread processor. But it's not bad. It really does run pretty well. It's a budget CPU, but it's definitely worth the money spent. I think I spent around maybe like 200 on the CPU, which wasn't bad at all. Now this is a backplate because, as you see right here, there was ports like right here for the original like original CPU like bracket thing that actually keeps the CPU inside, but I took it off because um my motherboard, one, the motherboard's small, but two, the CPU cooler, which I actually went with a deep cool CPU cooler. It's really nice. It's all black. It's a good CPU cooler, but I went with this because it was cool. At the time, I didn't realize that the motherboard did not have ARGB, and there's a difference. So ARGB is the kind of port that actually lies on the motherboard. On the motherboard, sorry, I cannot speak. So ARGB is the ports that lie on the motherboard, like right up here, where it usually has 3 pins and 1 pin in the middle, like right here. If you guys could see that, this. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, obviously, but this second to last pin over here, that pin would be missing, or there might be other ports on the motherboard because this is a CPU fan port for the actual CPU cooler. But so that doesn't really change much, but usually on other motherboards there is other types of ports where the ARGB would go. Basically, like it's a plug that plugs into that, and that cord is right here. So it would show up something like this, where it's three pins instead of 4 on the motherboard, and it would say ARGB. Now, I don't know if it's the same. I'm pretty sure it is the same when it comes to RGB, but so ARGB basically allows you to not keep, but it allows you to control the the colors or whatever you want to change, the lighting, however you want to change it, however you may change it, and it allows you to do that through the actual motherboard itself, through software and through other stuff that the type of PC may be. Now, I know one of the most popular ones is like AuraSync, or it's definitely AuraSync, or Asus Sync, or whatever it may be called, but it's something called Sync with the end, or at the end of it. But it's really cool in itself. It just sucks I didn't get the right motherboard, so that sucks. But it is what it is. You get what you get, and you can't really get upset. Obviously, you can get upset if you don't get the right thing, but spending money, and especially if like this is your first build, this is a learning experience for most, and genuinely will help you try to understand how to build PCs if you actually like doing this as a career. Because I know ever since I was young, I've always based myself off honesty, off loyalty, off respect, and ultimately just wanted to help a lot of people out, no matter what, because of the way the world's kind of going. I'm not saying any specific person or any specific names, because there isn't really any. It's just the way the world's going in general. So I like doing this because it allows me to kind of be happy, but it also allows me to help others be happy and help others what's the word, help others. I'm not gonna say do the right thing, because it's whatever people personally think, but it allows others to kind of show honesty in the best way they can too. Because the meaning of building, at least to me, the meaning of building a custom PC or a custom pre-built PC to sell to other people is to sell based off of what they really want, not what's shoved inside of a PC just for them to pay for and say, oh, it's pretty good. Because PC enthusiasts, if they were to look at that, they'd probably be like, yeah, it might be really good, but the specs, some is going to outweigh the other one. Or as, PC enthusiasts, or just in general in like PC terms, it would be basically unbalancing stuff. Not in PC terms, but in general, it would be unbalanced because one part, like say for instance the CPU versus the GPU, if the GPU is unbalanced with performance wise, whether it be gaming, whether it be doing work, whether it be schoolwork or regular work, whether it be doing work for actual jobs or other stuff, you want something that is able to connect well with the other part. Now, that's what I'm doing here because I like to be able to balance those parts out instead of one being higher, one being lower. And so that would run the processes for one part rather than the other being higher. So, like, say the CPU is better and newer, but the GPU is older. And GPU is basically a graphics card. Now, say the GPU is older, there's going to be a higher I believe there would be a higher process on the GPU because, or no, say that the CPU is newer and the GPU is older, there would be a higher process on the GPU depending on either a game or depending on the workload. And so it would be higher on the GPU unless it, hits the CPU differently or whatever it may be. Because like I said, I have NVIDIA, or I have a AMD CPU, but I have an NVIDIA graphics card. Now there's Intel, there's so many other, not so many, but there's like maybe one or two other kind of brands you can go out there to get, but like hardcore, hardcore, it would most likely be just like three main brands that at least I would go for, which is AMD, NVIDIA, and Intel, that I usually like kind of weigh around in circular, in a circular kind of motion. I would kind of like build PCs based off of those original specs instead of going to unknown kind of suppliers or brands or different stuff like that, unless it's something like an SSD instead of a hard drive, which I'm trying to find where I put my hard drive, because I have a lot of extra PC parts laying around. But let me see. Yeah. So right here, this is obviously a hard drive. You guys know a little bit about PCs. This is a hard drive, and this is an SSD. The difference is this is newer, this is older, and this one's faster with speeds. So that's interesting if you guys didn't know, or at least it'd be interesting. It's interesting to me. Or it was interesting to me when I was first learning about it. I will say the difference is pretty noticeable, especially if you use that as a main boot drive, which is, or a main boot, my main boot drive, would be an okay thing to say, and an okay meaning, but, the main boot drive is solely dependent on what you choose for a storage drive. Now, you don't necessarily have to use multiple different drives or multiple different, pieces of whatever you want to use as a storage device. Personally, I use SSDs. Hard drives are accessible to be able to use, or acceptable to be able to use, but it just depends on like the performance and what you're kind of looking for as a whole. Whether you be a gamer, whether you be content creator, whether you be somebody that just goes on your PC for work or just to have fun. It really just depends on you in its entirety. Now, back to the PC. So, like I said, I chose a AMD Ryzen 7 5700X. Now, I could have gone with the 5700, but the 5700X kind of delivers a little bit more of a boost in clock speed, and with the newer end kind of CPUs, and depending on the motherboard BIOS, if you don't get a Dell PC, which I actually have as my first computer, and that's why I actually got interested and more intrigued into PCs, because that's what got me into the career I want to go to. Because I plan on attending Lincoln Tech for hardware engineering. Then I plan on going to Whitworth Institute of Technology in Boston, Massachusetts, to get a degree in hardware engineering. And if I said that was for Lincoln Tech, I meant to say it's electrical engineering. So I know it's a lot that I just said, and I know I messed up, but like I said, it's a learning experience for both of us because I've never made these kind of videos before. So yeah, let's kind of get into it. Let's get into the PC build, and overall, let's have fun. So I'm gonna try to talk while I do this. I'm not the best at multitasking, so please forgive me. But let me just get my thermal paste out. These are called smudgers, basically. It allows you to smudge the thermal paste and push it down on the CPU, which is, or the thermal paste in general. Thermal paste is for the heat to dissipate off of these and go into a CPU cooler, which takes that heat and, like I said, allows it to dissipate, especially once it's in a PC case. So that's cool. And honestly, it's something new to learn about. If you, like I said, if you've never known, and I apologize if I do repeat myself, this is something that I don't really play around about when it comes to topics like this, because I really, really enjoy it. It's like building Legos for adults, or other things. You know, it's something that, like I said, I enjoy. So, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. My bad. But right now I'm going to apply thermal paste. If I can get this off. How tight did I apply it? Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh, uh-oh. Oh, wow. So yeah, thermal paste, I don't think it's toxic to get on your hands. Obviously, keep it away from, children. They shouldn't be eating it. But I don't think it's toxic to get on your hands. It's like grease, basically. You kind of want to get it off of your hands because it's still, messy. It's still something that, it's a paste that shouldn't be everywhere because it could be toxic. And I'm pretty sure it might be, but I'm not the best with my words. So anyways, right now what I'm going to be doing is applying it right here. There's many different ways you can apply it. You can do dots. For the most part, I kind of do just smiley faces, but you don't want to do a big one. Otherwise, the thermal paste will come off the edges, and especially if you don't have that bracket to go around your actual CPU, it will allow it to it'll allow it to go on the outsides of it, and that's not the best. You don't want that because it'll allow that to end up possibly getting into the actual CPU. What's the thing? It'll allow it to get into the CPU port, basically, and you don't want it to get into there because it will damage possibly the actual port in itself. Now, what I'm gonna do, just to show you real quick, is to take this out real quick and just show you. This is what my CPU looks like. Focus is crazy. I don't think my front camera is the best because I'm recording off my phone. Unfortunately, I don't have a camera on my PC to even record on my other PC. Now, when putting it in, there is little corners, but you want to look for a corner that has, I believe the gold piece is right here. You want to look for a corner that has the arrow. Let me move my phone. Okay, we're back. So, like I said, yeah, my back camera is definitely a lot better than my front. So this has pins. This is an AMD CPU, so that's mostly what it'll look like with the pins. But as for when putting it in, don't touch the pins. Trying to make sure I don't touch them, as I just said, don't touch them. Don't touch the pins, because if they get bent, you will have to end up having them get repaired, and that's the last thing somebody may want. So yeah, like I said, just don't touch them, or try your hardest not to. Now for the putting it in the actual socket, you want to make sure you line it up. So on the motherboard, there should be a socket arrow, like on the edge of the socket. Now I believe that is right there, where that triangle is. And what you want to do is line it up with the triangle right here, that little gold thing. And basically that's an arrow that guides you into how to put it in the actual PC, and it should like just line up right as soon as you kind of get it in. You just don't want to you don't want to force it in. Just let it kind of like just go right in. So like be really gentle and line it up with everything, and yeah, it should kind of fall right in. Like one last time. Here, there. It should fall right in. Then you're gonna want to put a little bit of force on here, if it is if it does take a lot of force, because it could be different for other kind of you know, CPUs. Like I have over here, I have a another one. This one is a Intel CPU. There's a little bit of thermal paste left on the side. That was from the previous owner when I bought it, but this one is a Intel i5 Core i5 2400. It runs at 3.10 gigahertz, which isn't bad, but I'm trying so hard not to let it fall on me, because these ones are actually a lot more sensitive. As you see, there's a lot of like metal right here, and these are basically like pins slash like the circuit board for the brain of the actual CPU. And now for these ones, it's a lot more different, but still, as I've said before, common sense, just don't touch these, like these actual gold things or the center of it, because it could damage it with friction and just static. And that's one thing, you never want to vacuum around these PCs, because of the fact with that static, it can destroy everything on your PC, or it could destroy, you know, a certain part that's more sensitive than most. I will pull out actually real quick, just as a representation, because I have another motherboard. This is what an Intel, here, let me move this, make sure this thermal paste doesn't get in the in anything. But yeah, this is another motherboard. I don't know what this one is, but this is basically what the Intel socket type is. Now it may be different for newer or older Intel CPUs, but it can vary. Now this is the shell that I was talking about for the actual socket, and that's what I don't have on my PC that I am going to be building for you guys today, because of the fact that, or this is a clamp, my bad, but I don't have that on for the PC that I'm going to be building for you guys, because of the fact that the CPU cooler is actually bigger and takes a lot more room than the actual clamp can be put on. So yeah, but this is what the clamp looks like, and this is what the AMD one is. So it's basically roles reversed, where this one's pointy and the CPU is smoother. As I said before though, like I said, pay attention to that gold, and most of the time it always goes in like this. You kind of want to mark it and line it up with the edge in the corner, So right here. And then once it's in, this one's not as easy to tell if it's in, so you want to make sure that it's lined up. And most of the time it always goes to this corner that you kind of want to map it out. But then once it's in, and before you clamp it down, you just want to make sure it's actually in. Don't push too hard, don't push hard really at all, just give it light pushes, taps, make sure it's lined up, make sure it's sitting and seated right, and then just push that down. Push this all the way back until it starts to lift. And this is basically a screw that is thicker up here, but smaller on the bottom, because what it is it latches this in place. Now what you do is you put quite a bit more force on this one, since it does have the actual shell or the casing for the actual socket and the CPU. But once it's in, all you got to do is just push. Make sure you push quite hard. I'm double jointed, so that's why my finger kind of locks up when it goes like this. But what you do is you pull it out, and then you kind of latch it around this little hook right here. So yeah, that's kind of how you install the Intel ones, or Intel CPUs. My bad for saying ones. But let me put this away real quick. And without further ado, let's get into this one. So I'm probably not going to talk as much, but I'm going to try to focus and explain to what these things are. Now, like I said, this one, because it doesn't have the casing over the actual socket, it should be a little easier to kind of push down. And you should kind of hear a click, because this should be harder to move. Obviously, it's not going to like rattle around as the Intel one did before you kind of latched it, because this one has like a clip where it clips in the actual casing, so the pins are secure and everything. And now once that's done, underneath the motherboard has this little black part. Now this is the parts where the threads go for the actual cooler, which I will install in a second. Now this bag that is currently sitting on this styrofoam is actually an anti-static bag that this motherboard came in, because like I said, the motherboards are basically the body to the brain and the rest of the PC. So now I just need to line it up, make sure everything looks good, and yeah, give me a second. There we go. Okay, these threads are lined up. Okay, now install the thermal paste. I think for the most part I'm probably just gonna do dots. So do one in a little bit in the top, but not too much in the top. And it's okay if you kind of like smudge it a little bit over. Just don't put too much at all, because mind you, it will be clamped down once the CPU cooler gets put down. So it will kind of like smudge a lot more. Now you want to put another dot right here. Like I said, you can do a smiley face. But with a smiley face, you have to be a lot smaller with this. And be really, really careful with the thermal paste, because this will come out heavy if you're not careful with how you apply it. I don't know what I did. I kind of did like a plus and then dots on the side, but that's, I believe that should be okay too. Hopefully it's just not too much. But that's what this video is for, and honestly it's a learning lesson, because I don't think it can damage it too much, or even really damage it at all, but it's just the matter of how much you put, because it will come off the sides. I don't think, and I don't believe it'll damage it, but let's kind of just see. When putting the thing down, you kind of want to make sure you not smash it, but like push hard, because you're also going to need to push hard when putting the screws in. Don't push the actual CPU cooler in itself down hard, because of the fact that it will possibly snap something in the motherboard. You don't want to do that. Now, let's just remove it real quick, just to see what it did with the thermal paste. Yep, that was a perfect apply. Now let's line up the screw holes. And get ready to screw it in. Now when screwing it in, I've watched multiple different videos, way younger, when I was first learning how to build it. You do have to push these screws in because these are tougher, so that's what I did mean by pushing it in. But also you kind of want to hold and make sure that the CPU cooler is balanced, because if it's not tight on one side and it's looser on the other side, it can possibly it can what's the word? If it's tighter on one side and lighter on the other, then it will possibly destroy however you're trying to screw this in, and it's just not good. It's not going to destroy it, but it just won't screw in well, basically. Now, also when screwing these in, you want to make sure that they're balanced. So don't screw them all the way in like I just did, but you also want to make sure that you're screwing it in oppositely. So like this one, and then the screw back here, then this one. And what I do is I go all the way in. You do have to push the screw down, so like the screwdriver, I'm pushing down because of that spring. As you can see, it kind of bouncing up, but you want to make sure you push it down so it gets locked into that thread. Now what I do is I kind of screw them all in like first. When I screw one in, I always screw it all the way in. But when I first put the actual cooler on, I screw it in just a little bit to where the point it actually catches the thread. Then I do it the opposite way. So like here to the other side, vice versa. Now for the other one, you just want to make sure you push down. Okay. It's okay to actually need to check, or it's okay to reline it. Just make sure you're not damaging the board. Technical difficulties. Okay, it just wasn't pushing down hard enough. But like I said, you don't want to push down too hard because you don't want to break it. But you will need quite a bit more force than as when you needed to push down the latch for the CPU. So this one, just make sure this is all the way in. Yep. Now don't over tighten them, but make sure that they're tight enough to the point where it's fine and it's good and it's not going anywhere. So by the time you're done tightening them, you should be able to lift up the board, and it should, be able to do this, or should just be able to be maneuverable. Now this, I already managed the cable, but there is another CPU fan port right here. You're just going to want to, if you have a board like mine, or just a board like this in general, you're going to want to line up the two back lines right here with the little piece of plastic behind these pins. And I will show you with this connector right here. There is plastic right in the back. Let me get my flashlight. Right here, there's plastic in the back. Like I said, you want to line that up with the plastic on the actual thing itself, like right here. So once you get that, just make sure you line it up and you should be good. And there. Just don't do too hard, and make sure the actual pins are lined up with the actual plug in itself. wasn't lining it up. So that's why they didn't plug in. Yep. Just technical difficulties. Give me a second. Okay, there we go. That's plugged in. Try to manage this cable right here. Make sure it's not sticking out too much. This is for ARGB with the fans that I'm putting in later in the actual PC once I get the case. I'm hoping that it does fit and there is a right port for it. If not, then uh-oh. If so, then yay, but it is what it is. And it's a learning experience for whoever is watching and for me itself. So I'm excited. But so now that that is installed and everything is good, that's the exciting part. So now we get to move on to the case and for the power supply too, because that's another important part that goes into this. So for the power supply, before I get the case, for the power supply, I chose a let me turn this back around because I wanted to make sure I didn't go too overboard, because the PC with the GPU recommended a 500 watt or more power supply. So I wanted to kind of future proof it a little bit. So if I did upgrade the GPU or the CPU, I wanted to make sure I still had more than enough power to do so. So that's why I got the 700 watt power supply. Now, I did go for one that isn't really as much as a popular brand, which isn't the best if you ask other tech enthusiasts. It's not the best thing to do in case of like in cases of like where you lose power or where you may have other problems. So it's not the best thing to do, but it's not the worst thing to do if at least you look at the reviews and you keep an eye on your items and your products and what you're interested in buying and what you might want. So this bad boy has been helping me out for a while, ever since I was able to actually get the case.
Hey y'all, Future Noah here. I wanted to come back and also say I think this is the part where I'm gonna start speeding it up, only because of time restraints and lack of time. So yeah, enjoy the video.
plugged in. It was really confusing because you had to do power LED plus, then power LED minus, but because mine has a layout of connectors on top, then a middle row connectors, then a bottom row connectors, it was a lot more confusing than usual motherboards, but I got it done. Should work, and it should be good. Now, I gotta plug in the actual power supply and get all that working. So, yeah, give me 1 second.
Sunshine drips like golden paint on palm leaves swaying without restraint. A mango breeze whispers soft hello. The sand hums secrets only it can know. Island glow, it steals my soul. Waves that dance and make me whole. Island glow, it's all I need. A quiet heart where dreams are free. Seagulls sketch the sky with ease. Sunshine drips like golden paint on palm leaves swaying without restraint. A mango breeze whispers soft hello. The sand hums secrets only it can know. Island glow, it steals my soul. Waves that dance and make me whole. Island glow, it's all I need. A quiet heart where dreams are free. Seagulls sketch the sky with ease. Sunshine drips like golden paint.
On 3, 2, 1. It works. Looks really good too. Let me see which way it's spinning. Yeah, so it's spinning that way. So it's pulling the heat out. Yeah, definitely pulling the heat out. Alright, let's turn this PC off. Alright, and let's get the rest of these fans installed. Alright, we got it all done. I'm so happy, so proud of the build. Honestly, it turned out amazing. There's some things we could have done better, but I'm also tired. Haven't done this in a while, and I didn't have a video to go off of. I did this by myself. So, I love the way it turned out. Praying everything works. But, yeah. Moment of truth. Let me get this plugged in. Alright, here. Here. And turn on. Ready? 3, 2. Make sure that's not on the phone. 3, 2, 1.